There have been some who say, man, why don't you get yourself a real bike? You obviously have not spent any time on the TW. That is the TW in front of the Freedom Bus. And you know, they said that the TW might not be the best bike for this, but that's all right because we're doing it anyways. Hey, Matt here, and welcome to Mob Street. Now, I'm out here in the hills today with my 2021 TW200, and we're just hanging out up here. Brought this trail up right here. Tried to go up a little bit further right there, and it got nasty, like way up there. So this is where we stopped, and this is where the video is going to be. So if you're new to Mob Street, welcome. We're glad to have you here. And I do a lot of stuff with the TW200. Now, I've got my 2021 right here, and this is going to be my 1-year review on the TW. Now, if you're familiar with Mob Street, you can see that I absolutely love the TW200. It's a fun bike. It gets me up into the hills. I use it with my family. I use it with the kids, which is part of my family. And I use it for all sorts of stuff. So I just wanted to give you the rundown on what it is that I'm doing right now with, well, not even right now, but what I've done in the last year with the 2021 TW. So this is it, obviously, right here. And I have done a few modifications. I showed that video right when I got it. I swapped out the tires, the skid plate, which, by the way, ricochet, that saved my bacon. Up there on that hill, I hit a pretty gnarly rock. I've done the Dunlop K180s. I have the TAC Industries headlight. I've got the Tusk handlebar risers, the Tusk handguards, and the Cycle Rack's rear rack. I also have a Cycle Rack's front rack, which is not on right now because when you jump, it kind of smacks your front fender. As you can see that scuff right there. So in the year that I've had the TW, I've gone to the sand dunes, I've done mountain trails, I've done street riding. I have even done some touring with this. Now, touring, some are going to argue, well, that's not really touring, but I've done 7 to 8 hour days on the TW to go visit places. It has been a blast. So I've got some saddlebags that are coming for the TW. I will do a video on that because it's going to be pretty sweet. I have the Cycle Rack's side panels for the saddlebags as well. So I'll show, I've shown those, and when the saddlebags come, I'm going to show you that. Now, I absolutely love the TW. Now, as far as engine and transmission and chain and suspension and carburetor, all that stuff on this right now is stock. So carburetor wise, I live at about 6,000 feet. I'm up a little bit higher than that right now. The TW in the stock gearing, the 14 tooth front and the 50 tooth rear do pretty well. But with my weight, I'm over 200 pounds. Going up this trail right here was it tested it. I had it full throttle and it was starting to bog down. So the 52 tooth that I have on my 2019, I think is definitely much more, how do you say, applicable for stuff like this that we, we're going up here. So
a few moments ago,
the bike is definitely capable to carry my heavy backside up here. But yeah, we're gonna walk up here. Take my goggles off for a second, and the trail continues up that way. This is actually, like I said, I don't know if it's going to show really how steep this trail is, but for my weight, this is where the 52 tooth sprocket really comes in handy for climbing stuff like this. So the stock gearing does good. Look at that. Gee whiz. But yeah, the 52, I'd prefer to have it up here. There's the bike. Found it. Let's talk about the tires. Now, these tires are the Dunlop K180s. I did a tire review on those, and these tires for this stuff, man, I was kind of slipping. This is kind of, let's show you right here. I mean, it's a little bit soft, and it was sliding. So if you're gonna be using the TW for like mountainous stuff like this, the stock tire on the back end and even the stock front tire, I would say, is much more suitable than these tires are for this stuff up here. So straight out the gate, the stock TW is pretty good. I liked it. I still like it. I think it is an excellent platform to get started on, to try stuff like this, to just go out and have some fun and get you up into the hills, dirt roads, even street. I put 2,500 miles on the stock tires, not on this one. I changed them out pretty quick, but on my 2019, I took them off after about 2,500 miles, and I was up playing around and stuff like this all the time. And there was only one time where I didn't feel like, well, we'll skip that part. But the stock tires are an extremely good tire. Despite what everybody says about them, make sure that you're running proper air pressure, test your air pressure, see which one works the best for you. And I mean, straight out the gate, the stock TW is pretty good. So let me tell you a few things that I don't like about the TW, and it's taken, what, 3 years to narrow this stuff down, because this is my second TW. The stock TW200, the chain back here wears out really fast. You're adjusting it quite often. It stretches extremely quick. Now I've got, let's see how many miles we've got on this one. I've got 2,145, and I'm still running the stock chain. So, I mean, it'll last you for a while, but it stretches and you're adjusting it quite often. Now, adjusting it is not that hard, and it's pretty easy to do. So I wouldn't let that sway you from buying the bike. The stock chain is the one thing that I found that I'm not the biggest fan of. And the second thing that I found that I'm not the biggest fan of is the clutch. Now, all over the TW forums, all over the TW Facebook page, I mean, there's lots of folks that comment on the clutch. Now, the clutch is still stock on here. The thing that I don't like is that it releases so far from the grip. And I've made the adjustment up here. I've made the adjustment down on the bottom. I have not replaced the clutch plates because the clutch hasn't burned out on me yet. And I know that once I change that, I can go in and do an internal adjustment. I just haven't yet. I haven't worried about it that much that I'm like, oh, I gotta have this done. So the chain and the clutch just being so far out away from the, before it actually engages, is what I'm not the biggest fan of. Now, neither one of those things deter me from saying that this is an excellent bike to pick up. I have loved having a TW200. This thing, I mean, the maintenance on this is extremely simple, and there's no frills, no gimmicks, no whole bunch of electrical BS to worry about. Watch out, there's a stick there. No edits. And, I mean, no frills, no gimmicks, just the joy of being out on a bike. Now, the bike has not changed hardly much at all since 1987 when it first came out. And a lot of folks are like, oh, it needs this, oh, it needs that, oh, it needs this, oh, it needs that. But the popularity of this bike is crazy. I mean, the used prices on these things right now are through the roof. And, I mean, those things that people say that it needs, oh, it needs a bigger engine, it needs a 6-speed transmission, it needs disc brakes on the back end, it needs better suspension, it needs all those things that people say that it needs, has not even slowed down one little bit the popularity of this bike. Now, there have been some who say, man, why don't you get yourself a real bike? You obviously have not spent any time on the TW. This has got a 31-inch seat height, so for short guys like me, 5'6", over 200 pounds, I can touch flat-footed, and it's extremely welcoming. Plus, it freaking looks awesome. I mean, the fat tires, the fat seat, the fat stance of the whole thing. Maybe not fat, maybe stout. We'll say stout. The stout stance of this whole thing, I mean, everybody loves this bike. You get a bunch of comments on it, a bunch of just like people stopping and saying, hey, that's pretty cool. Or people pulling up to the light and be like, cool bike, man. It's like, yeah, it is, isn't it? It's a lot of fun. It's a good time. 78 miles per gallon out of a carburetor. That's one other thing everybody says, oh, it needs fuel injection. Okay. Now, I can see the benefit of fuel injected bikes, but again, it has not slowed down the popularity of this thing one bit. So, in the year that I've had this one, I bought it in February of 2021. This thing is great. I absolutely love it. It's been a blast. I like to ride it. My wife likes to ride the other one. We go cruise with the kids all over the place. I've taken this everywhere, and it's just a flat out fun, good bike. Yes, it's not the biggest engine. Yes, it's not the 6-speed. Yes, it doesn't have massive suspension, but I would say that 99% of the folks who ride these things, you're going to see a smile on their face. So if you are considering buying a TW200, I'm pretty sure you won't regret it. I've had an absolute blast with this, and that's pretty much all there is to say about it. So I hope you found this video informative. If there's questions or comments, make sure to put those down below. And as always, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, and follow along, because we got a lot more coming. So thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I'm Matt. This is the 2021 TW200, and this is Mob Street. Thanks for watching.